Alrighty, here we go. This is Jesse from San Jose, California. I just wanted to say a couple things here. This is a video of me riding on my Harley Davidson XL 1200. Let's say that a good bike to start on would be a smaller motorcycle. I honestly believe you could get just about any motorcycle, but a smaller one would give you more confidence in the fact that you could fully have your legs extended, or you could your placement, your foot placement is perfectly flat. But if you have the money, and honestly, if you are, let's say, not in your 20s, maybe in your late 20s or early 30s, I honestly believe you should be able to buy yourself a 1000 over just a bigger motorcycle. This motorcycle that you see me here, this is actually my second motorcycle. My first one was a Shadow, and it was a really big, heavy motorcycle. It was difficult for me to start on that bike. It was it's a Honda Shadow 1100, big, heavy motorcycle. This one right here, this Sportster, is a lot lighter, a lot easier to move around, and a lot just overall easier bike to ride. But me being in my 30s, I just started riding maybe 3-4 years ago. I've ridden ATVs before. I've ridden off-road, but honestly, my first experience with riding a motorcycle on the street, it was 3 to 4 years ago. But knowing what I know now, I would have probably just bought the bigger motorcycle, maybe a Street Bob or a Fat Bob, in which I'm actually thinking about buying one of those motorcycles, but that's probably for another video. Buying the Shadow, I wish I would have just maybe saved that money and just bought myself this Harley Davidson, the one that I'm riding now. What happened was I was looking for a cheap motorcycle, and I saw a few Sportsters, and they were actually out of my price range. So I went with what I believe was one of the cheaper motorcycles. I got the Shadow for close to $3,000, and I was a little bit impatient, and I should have probably kept on looking at motorcycles when I was shopping around my first motorcycle. And this Sportster, it's a lot easier. It's actually faster than my Shadow. It's just because of the drivetrain. But I still have the other bike. I still have the other motorcycle, and I think the riding is different between the Sportster and the Shadow. This one's actually lowered. This one's been customized, heavily been customized. So the ride quality on the Shadow is a lot smoother, and a lot just overall better. But it's just heavy. It's really heavy, and the Sportster is more of a raw. It's actually it's kind of like a bobber. The bumps, you can really feel the bumps on this one. But if I would have probably saved my money and not be impatient the way that I was trying to get into riding motorcycles, I would have just saved my money and bought a Street Bob or a Lowrider. Because between both bikes, I already have maybe $7,000 or $8,000 spent on both of the motorcycles. What I recommend for anybody that's probably getting into motorcycles is get what you want. A lot of people say get a smaller bike, and recommend Groms, and you could probably get into a Grom. Honestly, the customizations are endless on a motorcycle like that, and it's fun to ride. I've never been on one and I've never gotten one, but just for my style, I just like cruisers. I've probably wanted to try out a sport bike, but it's not my thing for me. The whole your stance and your the way that you're seated on a sport bike. I just didn't see the need for me. I like being around the city, and I like to be comfortable. That's why I have the Shadow still. The Shadow is comfortable ride, but this Sportster, it's just something for me to have fun on. But with that being said, I would have saved my money. I would have just held off, saved maybe $10,000, and probably purchased a Street Bob. They have Street Bobs, used Street Bobs, 2015, 2014s, for around $11,000-12,000. Here in my area, in the Bay Area, they're about $12,000. With that being said, I would have just held off and probably saved. But I wouldn't recommend buying a brand new bike, that's for sure. You're looking at the payments and the insurance. And the insurance on both of my motorcycles is a little bit over $100 a year. Over $100 a year. Just a little bit over. If I were to buy a brand new bike now, I'm looking at $120 a month. So that's a big jump. That's a big difference. And for somebody that's probably getting into motorcycles, I wouldn't recommend getting a brand new vehicle, because then that's gonna add to your cost. But if you can afford it, get it. But for me, this is something that I wasn't sure if I was gonna stay with or get into it, or anything like that. But I've been riding almost just about every day. I don't ride in the rain, and I rarely ride when it's cold outside. But just about every day I'll go out and ride. And now I'm thinking about probably purchasing a brand new motorcycle. But maybe that'll be after maybe March, or maybe sometime soon, maybe a month or two. I'll probably start looking into buying a brand new motorcycle, brand new Harley Davidson. But with what I have right now, it's good. I'm satisfied. I like these bikes, and for the price that I got them both for, I probably could have purchased a bigger bike, a Street Bob or a Lowrider, something a little bit bigger. But like I said, I recommend anybody, except for maybe you're in your 20s, or late teens, early 20s, probably avoid getting those super street bikes. It's really easy to get into an accident with one of these motorcycles. Maybe after you're comfortable and after you've managed after you're able to manage all that horsepower, maybe after a year, 2 years, probably get yourself that super bike, that super sport bike. And in your 30s, there's a lot of people that still do stupid things in their 30s. But for myself, when I was a teenager, I was doing some really stupid things when I was driving regular vehicles. I remember a few times I was driving an SUV and I was just doing some really stupid stuff. But now, being in my 30s, I do find myself accelerating and doing a couple things, but it's just nobody's around, or I make sure it's 100% safe when I do. Well, you can't always be 100% safe, but I do try to kind of control my surroundings when I am going a little bit faster, or when I am getting on it, just riding it hard. But what I do recommend is just get what you want. I wouldn't recommend getting a brand new bike, because you will end up dropping it. My Shadow, when I had my Shadow the first 2 days, I dropped it. I mean, there weren't hard drops, but I dropped it just trying to kind of park the bike, trying to back up and trying to turn. I would turn the wheel and the bike would just fall, boom, you know. And it being a little heavy, I would have to pick it up. I've dropped it maybe 3 times. This one, this Sportster, oh police, this Sportster, I dropped it. I dropped it once, honestly. But it was, you know, I was dumb. I was doing something really stupid. Dropped it. Nothing happened to it. This Sportster was actually knocked over by my neighbor. I came out and it was on the ground. I do have video cameras and I caught him. But I didn't press any charges or anything. Nothing. I just kind of showed him and you know, just let them know what happened. But my recommendation is, if you're in your 30s or if you're not young and you've been riding for a bit, or you know what you're capable of, get what you want, man. You don't have to look at these videos or look at lists for best beginner bikes. Just get what you want. Just get it. There's no need to be, you know, wasting, or, you know, because once you buy a used bike, you turn it in, you're gonna lose money on it. The way I see it is, if you buy yourself the bike that you want and you're happy with what you have, you could start using that money, that trade-in that you would lose when you would trade in the motorcycle. You can use that money to customize your motorcycle, and, you know, just add on to it and make that motorcycle yours. And, you know, just save that money instead of buying something that you think would be easier to ride, and then a couple months, I guarantee it, you know, after 1-2 months of riding every day, you're gonna start losing that adrenaline rush, and then you start getting used to it, like a 600cc bike or something like a 883. You're gonna want more. And I could tell you right now, riding my bike, I want a bigger bike, a bigger engine displacement. But you know what? If you're gonna get into it and you want to try it out, get used. Buy a $2,000 Shadow bike and see if you really like it. And if you really do like it, you could go ahead and probably buy yourself a brand new one, or something a little bit more expensive, because just the cost. If you could afford it, get it. If you can't, you know, do what I did. Buy yourself a used bike, get the insurance for a year. You're looking at about $100, and that's pretty much it. You know, save yourself that money and be smart about it. They'll be all, you know, stupid about it. And yeah, good luck, guys. Stay safe.